Aye, so here we go again. Here is our photo for today. We've had a brief look at it. Today's subject is really about new builds. When I say new builds, normally that means building new homes for people. So if I go back to the article, here we go. So it's on the New Statesman, which is a sort of left of centre publication. It's quite, very well known, very old publication in the United Kingdom. Here's the online version. And so today's article is titled Britain's New Build Nightmare: How the Dream of Home Ownership Ran into the Reality of an Under-Regulated Market. So it's quite complicated, some of these issues here. And pronounce his name as Anoosh Catelian. Let's briefly go back to the photo. Perhaps I'll explain what I think I see here. So this is the photo here. So it's new build and new building homes, not factories or offices. So clearly this is a new property being built here. That's a yellow, perhaps JCB machine, and you can see like perhaps concrete or cement and some bricks down here. And a builder with a beard holding a hammer and a piece of wood. And in the middle of the picture, we see a home with a hole in the roof. And so I'd hazard a guess this one's perhaps due to be repaired or knocked down. We see the doors missing, holes in the walls as well. There's a person here with the hands in the head in the hair, or head on the hands, and presumably they're in distraction. Elsewhere, we see someone in the back garden who's just, I don't know, perhaps being unhelpful, perhaps being a little bit of a antisocial by kicking a bottle out of the garden, and other such things. We see someone else, of course. Thank you very much, Giuseppe, for pointing out this chap here. Or was it Michael? I can't think who pointed it out now. About it looks like it appears to be doing some graffiti on the roof of this house. Clearly, the people are way too big for these buildings, and they could never get through the door, let alone sleep in them. Maybe that's why there's holes in the roof, because they're just too big to get through the doors. Okay, let's go back to the reading then. Here we go. So I've read the title. So I believe, Elena, you were in first. So do you fancy going first when we want to get down to the...
Yeah, I can.
Should I make it slightly larger because it's a tad on the small side?
What do you mean small size?
Yeah, there we go. The word's a bit small on
Yeah,
the
it's better.
page.
It's better.
There we go. Over to you then. Read as much or as little as you fancy. Okay.
Okay. As the bohemia of Camden fades, its land value has spiked. The North London borough, once home to Amy Winehouse, Alan Bennett, alongside his Lady in the Wain, in the very last of the Mohican-topped punks, has become a wonderland for property developers. Over the past decade, new built housing has saturated the postcode like a Beck's Sodden beer mat. From 2014 15 to 2023 24, 5,634 new builds have been built in Camden, compared with a local authority average of 5,450 in the same period in England. The din of construction is now the signature sound of a borough that once echoed with Britpop. On residential street of grand townhouses is 53 Agar Grove, built in 2018. The low-rise block of 7 high ceilinged flats attracted affluent buyers like Alexandra Druzhinin, 51, a jewelry designer who spent £9,000 on what on what she considered a deluxe duplex, and then Bruce, 41, a tech entrepreneur who sold his startup and spent his life saving on an 250,000 pounds split level property. Shortly after moving into Agar Grove in March 2019, however, the two neighbors discovered their new homes were not what they seemed. They found mold and damp, rotten boards in ceiling, cavities with black water dashing out of them into the flats from the roof, constant leaks, cracks in the interior and outer walls. Can you please write up a little bit?
Maybe we'll hold it there because you're almost off the bottom of the page there, aren't you? So there's so much to read, isn't there? It, so was that interesting read? Was it difficult? Or sorry to stop you in the middle, but it's just so much to get through, isn't there?
Yes, some words were difficult to pronounce.
So let's go back over them before I forget them. So anything particularly you noticed you particularly noticed or want to do personally, pronunciation wise or meaning?
Bohemia of Camden fades.
Bohemia, yes. So that's Bohemia.
Mm-hmm.
That
No,
was
Bohemia, it's a high class, something like that.
that's an opinion, I think, really. Some people look forward to Bohemian. Some people love it, others don't. So it's something to be aware of. Not often Bohemia is something which it's probably artistic,
Mm.
interesting, exciting, but it's often somewhat downclass, probably graffiti in the area. Originally, Bohemia was an area, a particular place in the middle of Central Europe somewhere. Bohemia. I believe this actually is a place called Bohemia. I forget
It's,
exactly where it is.
it's
Perhaps
near
one of you guys know.
Slovakia, something like that.
Oh, you do know where it is, but it seems to have nowadays it's more of a general meaning. The one that I've just given you, that something's Bohemian. It means it's unusual, probably artistic. Um, Probably a little bit run down, but probably not good quality in that sense, as in an area to live,
Mm.
but probably artistic. So that's what the meaning is here. Okay. So any other words?
Fades, fades.
Yes,
Come. Mhm.
fades. If something's fading, it means it's disappearing, perhaps slowly. So you perhaps see it clearly, and gradually it becomes less and less clear. It's fading away. Something like that. So it says, as the Bohemia of Camden fades. So in other words, that half a sentence is saying that the Bohemian side of Camden is disappearing gradually. So presumably it's gentrification, as you said at the very beginning, before we started recording. That is sort of what that half a sentence is saying or implying, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Anything else? That's the first line, isn't it? So,
The found in borough. Mm. Mm, I think maybe just pronunciation, some words.
yes. Anything particular that strikes you? Anything in particular? Just general, you mean? Just I can pick out a few words, I
Some
think.
surnames, for example, Alexandra Druzhinin,
Um,
Druzhinin.
Druzhinin.
okay, good. I thank you for help. I didn't know the meaning of that one,
No,
of the pronunciation.
it's
It's
maybe a
meaning
Ukrainian or Russian surname.
Oh. Yes.
In the Russian, it's
Druzhinin, Alexandra Druzhinin.
That sounds perfect, I think.
Hmm.
Good. Anything else? Any other one? Perhaps the last paragraph, maybe.
Tech entrepreneur.
Yeah, so that's on. This is sort of Frenchy sort of a word. It comes from the French. So entrepreneur. So we don't really, we don't really say it the way it reads, sort of thing. So entrepreneur, entrepreneur. Do you want to say it a couple of times?
Entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Very good. There's 2 or 3 different ways of saying it, but most people say it that sort of a way. Yeah, I said entrepreneur, entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
I think you've got it, really. That's it. You've got it. I think when you said it, it sounded pretty good when you said it, but so you've practiced it now. Anything else? Perhaps in the last paragraph. I stopped you halfway there, of course.
Okay, maybe you've noticed
Okay.
pronunciation, some words.
I think I could understand basically everything that you said. It wasn't really. There might have been 1 or 2 words, but I can understand this word. So that's borough. Could you say
Borough.
that one again for me? And again?
Borough.
You're basically pretty much there, but it sounds like you're saying borrow some money or something, or
Yeah.
borrow.
It's close to that. Yes. Borough.
Yeah, so that's I would say the Americans tend to say it that way. The Americans tend to say it that way. The Brits say it more as borough,
Borough.
borough. So
Borough.
we're sort of putting an I always think of an sound on the end. And it doesn't really, I know it's terrible, it doesn't read that way, does it? So borough, borough.
Borough. Borough.
You sound like you're saying borough, borough. I'm saying borough, something like
Borough.
borough. Yeah,
Borough.
borough. Oh, that's better.
Borough.
I think you'll get it now. That's it. You're getting it.
Borough.
It's a tricky word. And I think in Scotland it's slightly different again, and definitely in American. They sort of I think always putting it, the Americans putting an O sound on the end. That's how it always sounds to me. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think we got that one. And of course, so who is Amy Whitehouse? Amy
Singer,
Whitehouse.
famous singer.
Yes.
He died.
Where? Oh, she died when?
Maybe 15 years ago.
Wow, was it really that long? Yeah. Yes, she's been gone a little while, I think. It's very sad. I think she had an
She
overdose,
has a
didn't she?
Cockney pronunciation, I remember her.
Oh, yeah, she was Cockney, which means she probably came from the east side of London, the east end of London. Although I've heard people in the north, south, east, and west with a Cockney accent. So it doesn't really matter where you come from in a sense. And the name just following it, that one there. Can you try that one again there? It's in blue.
Ellen.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, blast. So Alan.
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 Alan. Alan.
Yes, try again. Alan. Alan.
Alan. Alan.
Yeah, that's it. That's the last one was perfect. That's it. You've got it. Yeah. And so this person, Alan Bennett, he's quite an old guy now, but he's very famous in Britain. He's a writer, a very, very famous writer. I find his style personally a bit boring. It's quite intellectual. I find it difficult to get into. But one of the things he wrote, or a story he wrote, was about a lady in the van. I think that's what it was titled. And a few years ago, it was made into a film. And I've not seen the film, but it looks quite interesting. And it's really about a lady who lives in a van, which is like a small truck. But I think it was based in the road, and then they end up moving the van into his driveway. I think I don't know the exact story. I didn't actually receive the story. But he sort of helped look after this lady who lived in a van on the road. So presumably she couldn't afford anywhere to live, and she was living in a truck on the road, basically. So this word here, have you come across this word before?
Mohican topped punk.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yes, Mohican.
Mohican topped punks.
So it's got like a hic or a hi in the middle of it, but when we get to hi, we sort of say he, Mohican.
Mohican.
That's it. You've got it. Perfect. That's it. That's it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. But when I noticed thinking about it, when you said van, I think the V was a bit out. So do you want to say that? Oh, clicked on that. I clicked on the link. Sorry.
Van.
And again, so van.
Van.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's about sort of 80% down. I think you've got it. And I think that's the only one I noticed. There's a W here, but I didn't really notice any problem with that particularly. That was good.
One.
I think these dates, I'm not quite sure if you can see the screen perfectly well, but the dates are slightly different to what you actually read out, I think. But I think the screen might not be good, might not be sort of quite legible for you properly anyway.
From 2014, 2015 to
Mm.
2023, 2024.
Yeah, that's probably how I would read it. That's it. Yeah, you've got it. Whoops. Screen's jumping around a little bit. So Camden is a pretty well-known area in London, and I'm not sure. At one time, I believe Tony Blair, I think, was MP for roughly this area. Tony Blair is reasonably well-known Prime Minister in the UK. He's reasonably well-known. I think he was MP for that, roughly that area. Well, when it came to this word here, that word in blue, can you just say that one again for me? And what does it mean?
The Dean of Construction.
And what does it mean?
Maybe it's how these buildings look like.
What they look like.
Yes.
The word din really means a big noise, a big,
Yes.
probably annoying noise, probably. So the din of construction is all the trucks and the lorries and the people breaking bricks in half and banging in windows, all that sort of thing, as they build the houses, specifically. So that's the noise that obviously want to get rid of. So it's saying the din or the noise of construction is now the signature sound of a borough that once echoed with Britpop. So what's Britpop?
It's a music.
That's
It's
it. Yeah,
music. It's like
yeah. A kind
everything
of
about
music.
music. Yes.
That's right.
Rock music.
But it was sort of popular in the 1990s, and we sort of called that period of time the time when Britpop music was being made. I think it was the 1990s, and so in the 2020s, it's no longer Britpop; it's another kind of music. So it is. I think Blur was making music, and Oasis were making music. That was when their big, exciting albums were coming out. If you know of Blur and Oasis, okay. So I think I would probably say that name as Agar Grove. Agar,
Hey,
probably.
God.
Yeah, but I think you could debate how it might be pronounced. Agar. Well, the other word was this one here. This came up a couple of times, that word. Could you say that word again for me? That's there in blue.
Singed. Singed.
Sort of. So
Singed.
if that is the root word just there, I sort of. So if I sort of cover up the ed, so it's ceiling. That's ceiling. You know, every room has a ceiling in the sense there's four walls, a floor, and a ceiling, isn't there, in a house or a room, I should say. Normally they have four walls, don't they? So this is so talking about high ceilinged flats. So they're sort of saying these are flats which are constructed with high ceilings. That's what they're really saying here, aren't they? Or trying to say.
It's not
So,
like a skyscraper. It's a low.
well, yeah, I think it's seven.
Seven, not
So seven, a block of seven high ceilinged, attractive, affluent, bio-like. Yeah, we don't really know how many floors it's got. Seven. Okay. So a townhouse is probably two floors, a ground floor and an upper floor, I would have suggest. I'll just quickly search that. Well, I could search that. So a townhouse is not a block of flats, just as you said. That's how I would describe it. But Okay, so we had that name. Thank you very much for helping us that name, Michael.
Mm.
There was that word there. You pretty much on it, how you pronounced it, but just practice it a little bit again. So this one is jewelry. Jewelry.
Jury. Jury.
Try.
The best girl's friend.
It's, I just want to bring up a little. It sounds like you're saying jury. You know, when there's a trial, you have a judge and you have a jury, and there's 12 members in the jury. It sounds like you're saying that word, jury. So this is jewelry. Jewelry. Can you try that for me? Jewelry.
Jury.
And again?
Jury. Jury.
Yeah, you're sort of halfway there. That one needs practicing. Perhaps we'll come back to that, if that's okay. Leave it for the moment. So what's deluxe duplex? What does that mean? I think you said it perfectly. I think you pronounced it. What does it mean, though? Deluxe
Duplex.
duplex?
It's two flat houses, I think.
Could, yeah. I think the duplex does sort of mean two, doesn't it, often? But what does the deluxe bit mean?
Deluxe, it's a luxury.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Luxury, the
Also.
higher quality end of something. That's it. That's it. I think I don't know if we really. I think we do use the word duplex, but I think they use it a lot more in America. I think they do. Maybe perhaps I'm wrong, but I think it means something like. I could be wrong here. I'm sort of guessing. A home where you have to go upstairs to the bedrooms, maybe, and you're downstairs for the other rooms of a house. But don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. Perhaps I should search it now and to double check. But we haven't. Perhaps we'll leave that for the moment. That's perhaps you could search that, you guys, if you want to.
I
So
think
once again, that word there. So do you remember that word once again?
yes. Entrepreneur.
Ah,
Entrepreneur. It's French word.
pretty much, almost. So entrepreneur, entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
You got it. Maybe the last paragraph there. So mold, damp, rotten,
Dump.
rot,
Rotten boards.
and there's that same word again there.
Healing.
That's ceiling. That's it, ceiling. So when it says this word here, what does that word mean in blue?
Hold on. Uh, maybe, don't know, like a soiled, wet.
Ah, wet. That's it, yes. If something's sodden, it means it's absolutely soaking wet. If my clothes are sodden, it means that maybe I jumped into the swimming pool or something, or they've just been washed and they're hanging up to dry. But it means they're very wet, not just a little bit, not damp, but really, really very wet, sodden. So I can't see anything else. There's probably some other things, but that was very good, I thought. Lots of interesting words there. Did anyone else have any other words they want to check over or just ask about?
Chipboard.
And again, sorry, what was that? Oh, chipboard. Yes, that's
Yeah,
there.
chipboard. It,
Do you know what it is? Chipboard?
board is
Yes.
it's a building material.
That's it. Yes, it's a building material. It's a little bit on the cheap side. It's very simple, very quick. It's got its places you can use it, but you probably wouldn't. But if it gets damp, it just turns into rubbish, really. Probably most wood after a while does, but that in particular becomes just falls into nothing, really. Because it's little pieces of wood which are broken up and joined together under pressure, but joined together with glue effectively. So it's sort of a wooden glue sort of a mix.
It's like a veneer. I don't know.
A veneer is normally just a very thin layer of wood on the front, perhaps a very highly expensive, perhaps beautiful piece of wood on the front, but it's very, very thin, perhaps 1 or 2 millimeters thick. And the rest of it might be, as you say, chipboard behind it, a cheaper wood behind it. So it's just for a visual effect, veneer, visual effects, make it look beautiful. But that is not veneer, but it might be used with veneer. That was a fantastic reading, very good. Did anyone else have any other bits they want to ask about here or anything?
So it's changed our mind about this picture. So all of us thought it was old houses.
Mm,
They need a reconstruction, but the opposite is new houses, new built houses.
mm. Well, there is a new build here, and presumably this is the old one in the middle. It's basically falling down if you look at it, though. And the other houses look sort of average or normal, I guess, just
But
normal life.
they've got a solar panels. It's only new houses
Yeah,
have
that's true. Yeah, half of them got
in
solar panels on
solar
that, haven't they?
panels, yes, and very small gardens. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
but in a way,
looks
a lot of things are out of proportion because there's some person presumably having a barbecue here, and it's half the size of the house, and this person is three-quarters the size of the house. So it's things are out of proportion. It's sort of a cartoon, isn't it? Really, it's representative. My phone's going crazy. There we go. Yeah.
of
Okay,
course
we'll scroll.
exaggeration, but it's true about new houses.
What is true? You mean? What are you referring to?
How the new houses? Why all people hate to buy new houses? What's the reason about that?
I don't know about hate. I suppose there could be potentially more problems with a new house, in that you, with an older house in comparison to a newer house, you presumably think, well, the newer house may be better quality, but then again, what was the build quality like? Was the
Mm.
builder rushing? Did they use chipboard when they should have used something else, something more substantial?
But the price is bigger than old houses. Strange.
Um, because it is new, and whereas old, it could be worn out a little bit. Normally, most old houses need something done to them, perhaps new windows, or the concrete is cracked in the driveway, something like that. So yeah, yeah. And with a new house, you have to pay for all the work that has been done, been newly done. Presumably, people have spent hours or hundreds of hours even building the new place, so that has to be paid for. So anyway, let's get going again then.
Mhm.
So thanks very much for the that reading. It's very good. So you guys, Michael and Giuseppe, who wants to go next? I don't know who came in first. I think I don't know.
Michael entered before me,
Oh,
so
thank
I
you very
think
much.
it
Very
is
good. So
Michael's turn.
Michael, thank you, Giuseppe. Thank you.
Giuseppe is so kind. Thank
Over
you.
to you, Michael. You'll go.
When I visited the smart pale brickwork and cocoa brown cladding looked dazzling in the sunshine, but inside the intercom was broken and warped pigeonhole doors dangled open. Post is constantly stolen. The leaf had been broken since 2020. 3 of 7 flats said uninhabited. Their condition was so poor. Stumbling up the uneven stairs, I was hit by a sweet mask of damp, then permeated the block. A stench so pungent on the first floor of Bruce's flat that his master bedroom and ensuite were out of use. The building was so crooked that a number of his windows were trapped shut. I could fit my whole hand through cracks in the brick facade from his terrace. Sitting down to talk on the big brown leather sofa in his living room, I even felt the building sway when a lorry thundered past. A structural engineer they hired concluded that the block should be demolished. Their brand new near £1 million luxury flats are unmortgageable, unmortgageable, no, valued at £0 each. The residents have spent for £400,000 in legal fees. The building's developer in 2024 said that whilst the building is clearly deteriorating, it was working to find an acceptable solution. In 2023, the then Housing Secretary Michael Gove visited and promised to take a personal interest in their case. The following year, their local MP Keir Keir Starmer became Prime Minister. But nothing has changed in 6 years. They are stuck in unsafe properties worth nothing, with no end to their troubles in.
Yes. I had to stop in half middle of the sentence there. Sorry about that. So Keir Starmer seems to be their MP, I think. That's how I read it. That's how I read that. But this is a terrible story. So any words you want to check out or go back over the meaning or pronunciation again?
Unmortgageable.
It's a tricky one. So it's got the "un" in the front, so that makes it tricky, doesn't it? And there's got this "able" stuck on the end. So really, it's the word in the middle is the rooty bit, isn't it? The bit we're trying to get to. So that's mortgage. That's mortgage. Although it looks like gag maybe, mort gag, but that's not really how it's said. So when you're buying a house in the UK, you get a mortgage. But this one or these ones you can't get a mortgage because they're not really worth anything. They're worth £0, it says here, valued at £0. You can't get a mortgage on something which is worth nothing. So do you want to try that again? Just try the blue bit for the moment. So mortgage. Yeah, that's pretty much it really. So then maybe put the able on the end. So mortgageable.
Mortgageable.
Yeah, that's it. That's sort of there. We'll say it a couple more times. You're rushing it a little bit. So mortgageable. Try again.
Mortgageable.
That's it. But try to remember the bit in the middle is mortgage.
Mortgage.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. If I say the whole thing for you, the "un" and the "able" glued back on again. So it's unmortgageable. You'll go. Give it a go.
Unmortgageable.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, you got it. Okay, I'll say it a couple more times, then it's your go again. So unmortgageable. Your go. Just once.
Unmortgageable.
Yeah, you've got it. Okay, you've stopped at the right point. You've got it. Well done. So it's a terrible story, this, because they have spent I don't know what they spent. So the whole block was nearly £1 million. The whole block was, I think, because hopefully the whole thing was their house wasn't £1 million. But now they're saying it's valued at £0 each. Well, the whole thing's valued at £0 each, isn't it? And just in legal fees, they spent almost £500,000 in legal fees. That is absolutely shocking. Any other words you want to go back over again, or anything else?
Deteriorating.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Deteriorating. That's it there, isn't it? So deteriorate and deteriorating. If something's getting worse, it could be anything. My spelling could be getting worse, or it could be the quality of the house getting worse. So that's it. Deteriorating. Do you want to give it one more go? Deteriorating. Yeah, that's it. That's perfect, basically. That's basically pretty much perfect. Once more, deteriorating. Yeah, that's it. Anything else there?
I don't know. Terrace.
Oh,
his
so is the word terrace? Terrace?
terrace.
So
terrace.
whereabouts is there terrace? I'm not sure. I'm guessing what you're saying. Terrace. When we talk about, often we talk about terrace, how, oh yeah, there it is there, terrace. So normally talk about terrace housing in the UK. And so it sort of means it's one house after another is exactly the same, pretty much exactly the same, but they're also all joined together. So they're all like in one big block of them. But each sort of, every sort of couple of meters is a new property with a front door and windows, etc. So we normally talk about terraced housing, terrace housing. And there's that word there. Could you say that one again? Give it another try. It's French sort of pronunciation, and the
Facade.
C comes out as an S. Try the C as an S, maybe.
Facade.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Facade. It's a French word.
Facade. In Ukrainian also facade.
Ah,
It's
that's nice.
sounds like.
And what's the
facade.
meaning what's your meaning then for that word?
Its meaning is the same facade of the building.
Yes.
It's,
So the face. It basically means the face. So it could be the facade of a few different things, but often it's a building. If you're talking about a diamond, you often say this face of the diamond. You talk about the facet. But here it's facade for buildings. Okay. There was a couple of other things I've noticed. So at the very beginning, there's this word up here. So this is the color, isn't it? So could you just say those couple of words again? Have you said that one again for me?
cocoa brown.
Yeah, all pretty much. Most of the those as an A there, most of the time we don't really pronounce it, and it just comes out as cocoa brown. I think there are a couple of situations when you do pronounce it, but most of the time you don't.
Cocoa brown.
Cocoa brown, that's it. And then there was this word here. So that's warped.
Warped.
Yeah. Do you know the meaning? Warped.
It's broken.
Is on the way to being broken, you might say. If I have a door that is warped, it means it's bent. Normally, it means it's bent. And often, if it's wood, normally, if something's made out of wood and it gets damped, often it does become warped because the dampness gets into the wood and it becomes misshapen. The dampness bends the wood. And if it stays dry, that it wouldn't get warped in the first place. So even a straight piece of wood left out in the rain for a day become warped in one day. So it need not necessarily be broken, but it's on the way to being useless, you could say. And I think the other one was this one. So that one there is. So that one again, maybe.
Dangled.
Almost dangled.
Dangled.
Yeah, you got it. That's it. Dangled. So when something's dangling, it means it's hanging off of something. It's hanging down off of something. So if I'm on a cliff, I might hang a piece of string over the edge. I'm dangling a piece of string over the cliff. But here they're talking about doors dangling open, presumably, and they're warped as well. Okay. Yeah, it was a good read, I thought, overall. Very good read. So what does that word mean there? Whoops. What's that word mean?
Stench.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, stench. What does it mean?
Bad smell.
That's it, bad smell. Yeah, stench, so pungent. That's it. And I've got another one, the other end of that same line. What's that one there? It's French in origin.
Ensuite.
It's sort of, it looks, so it's ensuite. I think a lot of people just say on suite. They sort of say it that way. It isn't really ensuite. It's ensuite. It's of a French. That's the French version, and it's sweet on the end. That normally means a toilet, or perhaps and a hand basin, maybe even a bathroom, etc., next to the bedroom, and every bedroom might be en suite, which means there's a bathroom next to every single bedroom in a house, possibly. So not just one bedroom, not just one bathroom, perhaps downstairs. It means every bedroom would perhaps have an ensuite toilet and shower, etc. So this makes it sort of semi-luxurious, you might say, for some people. Oh, there's this word here I noticed. We said that one, so that one's pronounced crooked. Crooked. So it's crooked, and ed on there, so it's crooked. That one. Do you want to say it again for me?
So I don't understand. Crooked or crooked?
So if I take the ed off, that's crook, without the ed. If I put the ed back on again, it's crooked. Crooked. I said both of them for you.
Crooked.
That's it. Crooked.
Crooked.
Yeah. And it basically means sort of bent, not straight. A bit like the warped. Similar to the warped, really. As here they're saying, the building was so crooked, so bent, that a number of the windows were trapped shut. So some of the windows couldn't even be opened because I guess the walls had moved so much they trapped the windows shut. That sounds shocking, isn't it? I can't see. Was there anything else that you saw you want to go back over again there?
When a lorry thundered, it's
I
like
had noticed that one. That's it, pretty much. So if I take the ed off again, so it's thunder without the ed. If I put the ed back on again, so it then becomes thundered.
Thundered.
Yeah,
Thundered.
Yeah.
It's like thunder. It's like storm.
That's it. It's the same thing. That's it. Yeah. So the lorry thundered by, made a noise, little bit like thunder. That's it. Yeah. So it's a little bit find that tricky. The ending bit of it, red. They find that bit tricky. I suppose. Anything else at all?
What does it mean? Lorry thundered past. It's lorry create loud noise.
Yeah, that's it. So just like the lorry sounded a little bit like thunder. When you have thunder and lightning in the weather, big sparks coming down from the sky. That's it. But there were no big sparks. It's just the noise, and of course, it's literary, isn't it? Making it slightly interesting. If it just said the lorries outside were noisy, it'd be boring, wouldn't it? So just to add that little bit in, that makes it a bit more interesting. It's quite well written, I think. Terrible story though. Anything else? I think that I had noticed the thunder, but that was the only thing I've noticed. Now that's literally everything I think I noticed.
What does it mean? The following year, their local MP, Keir Starmer, local MP.
Yeah, it is a little bit confusing. There are dates it mentions, and there was an election in the UK in 2024, and so it sort of means often who is the MP. It changes when there's an election. Not always, of course, but a good number of them changed, and an awful big number of them changed on that general election. So it isn't entirely obvious, is it? So maybe if I read from there down, we'll see what happens. So the building developer in 2024 said that whilst the building is clearly deteriorating, it was working to find an acceptable solution. In 2023, the then Housing Secretary, Michael Gove, and Michael Gove, I think, lost his job because he was in the old government. So the then Housing Secretary, Michael Gove, visited and promised to take a personal interest in their case. But he lost his job, so presumably he can't be doing that anymore. And then it says, the following year, their local MP, Keir Starmer, became Prime Minister, but nothing has changed in 6 years. So Keir Starmer's only been there about a year. In fact, as Prime Minister anyway, for less than a year. But I think he's been their MP presumably for about 6 years, but he hasn't been Prime Minister.
MP,
Yeah.
it's abbreviation, Member of Parliament.
That's it, yes. So MP stands for Member of Parliament. And that guy, and he's actually a Sir as well. So often he's referred to as Sir Keir Starmer. He's also the Prime Minister. He sort of runs the country. And sometimes that is shortened down just to the letters PM. So Keir Starmer is an MP and is also a PM. So the letters go either way round and it's still correct. So there's an MP and there's a PM as well, or the PM. Right. Okay, I think we'll leave it there. So it's just gone 7. I'm sorry it's been so late. So we'll have to move on to Giuseppe now, if that's okay. I hope that's okay. I hope there's more to read. No, it's actually quite a long reading, this one. So do you fancy reading this little bit at the top and then I'll scroll down to get the rest of it? Is that okay, Giuseppe?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay.
Yes.
So new build buyers should have minor defects and structural issues covered for the first couple of years after the purchase. But in this case, and so many others I have come across, owners' complaints seem to count for nothing against an opaque tangle of warranty providers, loss adjuster, building inspector, contractor, and developer, all with top lawyers and each other to blame. Other Grove's residents have also tried the Financial Ombudsman Service, the Financial Conduct Authority, the Building Safety Regulator, and even the London Fire Brigade. None could help. It feels to them that in Britain today, you have more consumer rights when you buy a toaster than a house. This was supposed to be my dream home. This is not how I imagined my life working out, said Bruce, who has lost patches of his hair and suffers from psoriasis flare-ups from distress. I feel financially and emotionally abused, said Druzhinin, who has broken out in hives, lost sleep, and experienced shooting chest pains. The social contract's broken. What is the future of this country if you can't give people safe homes? I don't know if I...
Oh, you can carry on if you want. It's up if you want to.
Okay. Starmer came into government on a promise to get Britain building 1 million houses and up to 12 new towns. Yet, in his own backyard, new flats are falling down. Correspondence I have seen from his office with the residents in question pledge that Keir's constituency team is a small one and directs them to the Ministry of Housing. Communities and local government from which Starmer's constituency office merely request a clear statement of what MHCLG can and cannot do to step in here and assist.
Fantastic reading. A worrying reading, but still a fantastic one. Very good. So anything you want to ask about here at all? Anything particular?
Yeah, I think there are several names of authorities or maybe, yeah. Yeah, the general meaning is quite clear. So it seems owners are suffering from the condition of their houses and maybe physically or emotionally
Yes.
not talking about their finances. So yeah, it is nice that the way they think that they talk about consumer rights. So you have more rights when you buy a toaster than a house. But yeah, actually, that is happening exactly the same here in Italy, with many speculations and houses built without good materials and techniques. So
poor quality, yes. Trying to save, I guess the builder is trying to save money and not managing the situation properly. It sounds like, doesn't it?
yeah,
Sorry
yeah,
to say.
yeah. I think prices are going up and quality is going down
And the other
general.
way.
In general.
I have heard a few stories, other stories apart from that. I haven't actually heard this one before, having said that, but I definitely have heard other stories where something similar has happened. Some particular thing wasn't used in the construction of the house, and there's some terrible effect happening afterwards. Everything else was done correctly, but one particular thing wasn't done correctly. It's had some very severe consequences. Probably lack of training, not properly managed as well, I guess. You mentioned about the names. There is a very long. This is a department in the government, or of the government, I should say, Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. That is a name of a particular ministry within the government, and that's it shortened down just a bunch of letters. It's quite a strange mixture. It's a local government, housing and community. With the pronunciation, there's very little I can point out really. So it's very just little details really. This is a particular service. If you have a financial complaint about a business, perhaps a bank or something, you've got a loan or something, or a mortgage even, these are the first people you try to talk to after you've talked to the business that dealt with you. So if it's a bank or something, you speak to the bank first of all about the problem. If you can't sort it out, then you go to these guys here about a financial problem. And it's the Financial Ombudsman Service. So it looks like is an incredibly old word, and this is really the only situation it really gets used in. And an ombudsman is really sort of like an adjudicator, or a sort of a judge. They will just try to decide who's in the right, but sometimes they can't decide. They might pass it up to somebody else occasionally. So do you want to just say that this is probably the only place you'll ever see it really. It doesn't get used a great deal more elsewhere. It's sort of perhaps in the medieval period it used to be used a great deal more, but over time it sort of died out. And it's ombudsman, ombudsman, basically. Ombudsman. Do you want to give it a go? Ombudsman.
Yeah, ombudsman.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Ombudsman.
Ombudsman.
Yeah. Often we see man on the end of anything, and it could be a name of something, or a name of a title, or a city name. It's never really ever a man. Like when it's on the end, it often comes out as mun, something like mun, I would say.
Okay.
And it's similar here. Ombudsman.
Oh.
Mun, something on the end.
Ombudsman.
Mun, more of a mun. So look, perhaps a U, maybe mun, maybe I don't know, something like that. Ombudsman.
Ombudsman.
And I think when it's at the beginning, man's at the beginning, say Manchester being man, we really do say man when it's at the beginning, pretty much. When it's on the end, it tends to be strangely mun. There's probably a reason for that. I don't know what the reason is.
Man.
Ombudsman. That's it. Ombudsman. Man. I think you got it there, the sound of it. And if these guys can't help, the FOS, the Financial Ombudsman Service, then you go to the Financial Conduct Authority, the FC. That's often referred to as the FCA, but they're like the final the final person you would go to. But because it's really about a building they're having trouble with, then going to the building safety regulator. But the building hasn't fallen down yet, I think. It's really poorly built. So. I liked your psoriasis. It's obviously a medical issue, psoriasis. So the P is silent, you could say. Psoriasis. So there was something. There was, I think it was the word, that's right, it's one of those, it was the word covered as I think about it. It was up in the upper section above it. So it's got that similar sort of RED ending. COVID. It was there, is there. So just, whoops, oh blast, I clicked on it again. I always click on the link. So it's just the ERED ending. I think it can be a little bit tricky. So covered.
Covered.
Yeah, I think you've got the ending. Is the beginning isn't quite there, I think, isn't it? So covered. It's almost there. Covered.
Okay. Covered.
So maybe just miss off the ED and just say cover. So often you find covers on lots of different things, isn't there? So cover. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Cover and covered. Yeah. I think you're saying a T on the end. It sounds like a T. You're putting a T there. It's more like a D. I think this one is more like a D. I think it's probably a little bit in the middle, to be honest, but it's more like a D. Covered. Yeah, you're making it a little bit more like a D, but it's obviously found that one tricky. That one. So maybe that's one to practice in the future. But a lot of people find these RED endings tricky, and I think even Michael found one of them tricky earlier on. So. I think you said this okay, but I can't remember how you said it. Do you want to say that again for me, that little bit there?
I think I said opaque tangle.
So yeah, that's sort of it. But I would say this is opaque. Yeah. And tangle. Opaque tangle.
Tangle.
So when things are mixed up, you might say it's a bit of a tangle. Things are all tangled up. If things are mixed up. Or if you have, say Christmas time, you might have sort of Christmas lights you want to put around the house or put on the Christmas tree. You can say, oh, the Christmas lights are all tangled up again. They always get tangled up. In other words, all like in a big knot of wires together with light bulbs coming out of it. So opaque tangle, this one is. Opaque tangle. Just once more, maybe. What opaque tangle?
Opaque tangle.
Yeah, you've got it perfect, really. Absolutely perfect. And really, I think I'm really picking out little details, really, I think. Yeah, that's very good reading, I think. Were there any words here which are new to you that hadn't come across before?
No, I think the paragraph Michael and Elena read were more challenging than mine.
Yes.
So
yeah, you were lucky. But this word here, this word in blue, is that a new one for you?
Yes, loss adjuster.
Hmm.
So maybe adjuster is someone who tries to fix things, but in loss adjuster is, I don't know, someone who take care of people in difficulty, or I don't know. Loss
Yeah, they're not,
adjuster.
that's sort of it, really. So a loss adjuster is a specialist appointed by an
Oh,
insurance
okay.
company to
Okay.
investigate and evaluate insurance claims. Their
Mhm.
main responsibilities include, and there's a whole load of them there. So they look at what's happened. Perhaps a car has crashed into another car, and they work out how much has been lost, how much the damage is, that sort of thing. And obviously, in this case, it's housing, isn't it? So it really,
Mhm.
you can get anything insured at the end of the day. And the other word here, I guess, is perhaps warranty. So what's a warranty? And in this case, it's a warranty provider or providers. So what's a warranty?
I think warranty is so the to say when I buy something and
Yes.
it doesn't work or yeah,
Mm,
properly, I have kind of protection and so
yes. Yes, that's it.
yeah,
So you may simply talk about a guarantee, warranty. They're almost the same, pretty much exactly the same meaning. That's it. Yes. Um, so warranty providers in this case, but you might also use the word warrant. If you watch American films quite a bit, they talk about a policeman having a warrant to arrest somebody. And a warrant in that sense is a piece of paper and it says, arrest this person because they've done some sort of a crime. And so that is sort of connected. So a warranty might be a guarantee written on a piece of paper, and the warrant is the authority to arrest somebody. But there is a sort of vague similarity there.
kind
And
of license
yeah,
to do something. Okay.
it's an authority to do something, essentially, isn't it? That's it. To
Mhm.
arrest somebody or give someone their money back. That's the idea. There's also financial warrants as well. In the financial world, they talk about a warrant. And it's something vaguely similar again, but this time it's to do with money. It's the right, you have the right to a certain sort of benefit out of a certain business with a financial warrant. But it's normally poor quality compared to other financial instruments when they're issued, I should say. That, does anyone else have any questions? Or Michael, not Michael, Giuseppe, do you have any other questions or anyone else? That was a simpler reading, I think you had there, as you said. Anything else?
No questions.
So you guys, so perhaps we'll discuss it then. So Giuseppe, you've already mentioned, yes, it happens in Italy. I guess it happens the world round. But so anyone else got any similar stories or that they fancy talking about? It's interesting here. They're saying the social contract is broken. What does that mean? The social contract is broken. So this is the guy who bought one of the houses, I think, with the possibly a Ukrainian name. We don't know exactly. It could be Russian too, I think you said, Michael. So he said, I feel financially and emotionally abused, said this person, who has broken out in hives, lost sleep, and experienced shooting chest pains. The social contract's broken. What is the future of this country if you can't give people safe homes? So what does it mean by the social contract is broken? What does that mean?
I think is the entire group of rules or laws that are part of our societies and
Yes.
at the basic rules to live together maybe and being respectful and so.
Yes, I think that's it really, yes, isn't it? So is that those ideas in which the society is built upon, how we deal with each other. There are there's this basic idea of a social contract. It's not necessarily in the law, although hopefully bits of it or perhaps much of it is in the law. But in Britain, we don't really have a constitution as such, I think, not a written constitution. We're saying in America they do have a written constitution, and all these sorts of things are written down. I imagine. But over time in Britain, laws have been written that sort of codify or sort of uphold this. But I guess a lot of it isn't, I suppose. Does anyone else have any comments about that at all? It's very interesting, a bit sort of philosophical, I guess. So over here it says social contract. In moral and political philosophy, the social contract is an idea, theory, or model that usually, although not always, concerns the legitimacy of the authority of the state over the individual. And then it carries on, but we haven't got the rest of it here. That's the idea of the social contract. Yeah, but I liked your explanation of that, Giuseppe. It's very good. So what happens in your countries where this sort of a problem comes up? Someone has bought a house for presumably thousands or even hundreds of thousands of pounds or whatever it is, and they only to find that the house isn't really worth anything like that because it starts to fall down 6 months later. How's that dealt with in where you live, or have you any experiences of that or stories?
Yeah, actually, in my country, when you buy, for example, a flat, you have a special guarantee of the builder for 10 years about materials, structure, and everything. But sometimes it is just theoretical possibility, because if the company goes bankrupt, you have no people to ask to say something, to show maybe images of walls or a roof or window or everything of mold in your flat. So that's the problem. And if you do not have anyone to claim, yeah, everything is on your shoulder, and the process to be guaranteed about maybe government or other authorities is exhausting, very long and exhausting. And sometimes, yeah, you must live in that reality and without any possibility to have your money back or have a new flat or a new situation. So it is almost the same we have read this evening.
My understanding in the UK, there is something similar, but it isn't all houses. Certain properties, I think there is perhaps a guarantee scheme, and certain builders have signed up to it. So if a builder builds a house and it does start falling down or is unacceptable quality within a certain period of time, perhaps it is 10 years too. That sounds a reasonable period of time. And those sort of problems develop within 10 years. The homeowner can ask the house builder or the developer. We often say developer. We can say house builder, but sometimes it's developer, to honour their guarantee. And so in that sense, we ask them to honour it. That means that they should pay back the money or sort the problem out. If it's just a few bricks falling out or something, it doesn't sound too bad, does it? But if it's the house falling down, as in this case, that it's such a big issue. I think it might make the developer or the house builder force them into bankruptcy, because I can't see how they could suddenly take this £500,000. Was it £500,000? I think the block cost. If you suddenly pull that out of any sort of a business, most businesses would just collapse. So yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? But not every builder has this guarantee. Certain builders do it, and normally when you buy a house, they will say, we offer the builders get. I've forgotten exactly what it is, but it's a guarantee. It has a certain set of initials. Master House Builders Guarantee or something. I don't know.
I think it is important to buy a flat or an apartment from experienced and skilled companies. And because sometimes you have house builders who create a society and then they build something and then they disappear from the scene. So, but also there are problems with the modern techniques of building because, everyone want to build quickly and get money quickly. But using specific materials, you are more prone to have mold in your house, or maybe when you do not respect technical times in building, you can have cracks in the walls or in the surface, and so it is a mix of situations. So sometimes we could prevent taking more time in building. So and using different materials, because now with all the chemicals and glues and resins into the cement and concrete, so and also in maybe window, we have our houses without flow of air, without exchange of air, so they are they are very well insulated and isolated, but it is quite easy to have mold inside because of the different temperature inside and outside. So
I know in the UK we take a very damp sort of environment. The atmosphere is quite damp for a lot of the time. Perhaps in Italy it isn't quite so damp, I don't know, in comparison. And there's what's called building regulations, and that basically means the house is built to a certain standard, and they've got to make the bricks have to be a certain width. And when they make the windows, they have to be of a certain quality, and they can't be less than that. And the idea is that that they obviously houses last a certain length of time, and that if the windows are built a certain way, it means the heat won't be lost too much throughout the windows. They're built to a particularly reasonably high quality, hopefully. There were for a long time, say from before the Second World War, houses were built with a cavity, a space between two layers of bricks from the outside, and we normally talk about cavity wall construction. So there's one layer of bricks or line of bricks, then an air gap, and another line of bricks, and so it's like a double wall all the way around the outside of the house, and that air gap in the middle gives a certain amount of insulation. But then they found it was actually better not just leave an air gap, but to put something in there that made it that increased the effect of the insulation even to a great deal. And it was very much worth filling that gap in, get rid of the air gap, put something else in there, special insulating material. But they did find that if it was done incorrectly, it meant that sometimes water from the outside could cross over that physical insulation and get into the house. And other times there might that physical insulation be put in there rather than an air gap. That insulation in there could get moldy as well. And so the more you change things, there's always a problem. There's always a risk of something going wrong, isn't there? I guess. I think in Spain and perhaps in Italy too, the brick itself, a single brick, has lots of air gaps in it. But in the UK, the bricks in the UK tend to be reasonably sort of whole and solid, like a small piece of stone, you might say. And what we do is make like a double wall with one big gap in the middle. That's normally the way they're built in the UK. I guess that's the building regulations. We're saying in Spain, the bricks themselves already have an air gap in them. So it's a bigger brick, but there's an air gap already inside the brick. Obviously, Spain is a much hotter country compared to the UK. So, any idea what the bricks are like in Italy? Do they have air gaps inside the brick? Do you know, Giuseppe?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. The problem is the cost, because we have those uh, kind of alveolar bricks, and we have bricks that are solid, and yeah, but sometimes house builders prefer to save money using just one wall instead of two walls, and also is important mm, the width of these bricks, and yeah.
Mm. Mm.
In the past, we have our houses built with bricks, so kind of solid, and but the materials were different, not the material of the bricks, but of the claddings, because they were good at absorbing wet, humidity, but now we have chemicals, and so of course water is not aggressive for walls, but these materials impede the walls to breathe in some way. So we know how to build houses, but sometimes we prefer to build them differently, and for several reasons. So
Yeah. I think we're always looking for a better way, perhaps a cheaper way, perhaps a better way. Another way of putting
yeah,
it.
I think it is a paradox, because maybe Italian old houses or British old wood made houses were safer than the modern houses. So talking about health, of course, so because if you have molds in your house, you are exposed to
You don't want to
disease
be
and
exposed to that.
illnesses. Yeah, and for example, where I had my office in the past, it was a very recent building, but the floors were that were upstairs in 2 years had their walls completely covered with mold, and because of the materials. So walls were not able to absorb wet humans were producing inside. So, and the environment was absolutely unhealthy. And yeah, and they must pierce the wall to have a kind of exchange of air, and so to have a temperature more balanced, and also humidity more balanced between inside and outside. So
Often we talk about putting a vent in a wall, and it's, as you say, it's simply a hole. It's made to look nice. There's normally a little cover there. It makes you may be able to open and close it. It lets the air flow between the two.
exactly.
That's a vent.
A vent, yeah.
Does anyone else have any experiences they want to talk about, or anything else? It doesn't have to be about this. It could be about anything if you want to. It's just a way of practicing your English. So maybe we'll stop the recording here. If I can find the button. Oh, there.